Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Part 3 of our Interfaith marriage discussion, and still so much to discuss. I want to ask you about marrying other sects of Islam. So we've talked about, who you can and can't marry according to the Quran. Now, what about within Islam? Let's say marrying a Shiite Muslim marrying a Sunni Muslim, or, for example, marrying an Ahmadi. What are the rules regarding that? Is there anything in the Quran that offers clarity?
Yes. So let me first of all frame this within the philosophical body of thinking to think about why does Islam have to have any concern with that? Somebody says, I want to get married. Why does religion interfere with my happiness? So we can think of a situation where there's no religion, but parents try to school their children, and one of the issues is, what makes a successful marriage? So you marry somebody who is compatible with you, it's more likely that you're going to have success in your marriage. And religion comes into the picture. One of the issues of incompatibility can be religion. People fight over religious matters as they fight over politics and sports. Mm-hmm. So if we think of God wanting the best for his creatures, especially those who choose to believe in God and want to follow God's guidance, part of that guidance will be about, how do you get a successful marriage? But of course, that's not the core of religion. Core of religion is about the things that constitute worship, like prayer and fasting and giving charity and performing pilgrimages to sacred sites. These things form the core of the Islamic faith, starting with the declaration of faith in God and in God's messenger, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So marriage is just one of the aspects of life that falls within the broader aspect of the broader ambit of religious culture and civilization. In that sense, we should not give more importance then to the question of marriage than it deserves. It's not like, if you marry a person outside of your faith, it's like if you're committing adultery or it's as if you are, committed such a major sin. It's a marriage. You're trying to do something decent and have a decent family life. But then we want to know now what is the specific regulation from within the religion. So here too, there's nothing specific in the Quran about marrying within your own sect, mm-hmm. Because from the Quranic point of view, when this is being revealed, there is no sect.
There were no sects at that time. Yeah,
it's just like the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his followers are mm-hmm. all of the one faith. So given that, with the emergence of sects, Muslim scholars have had to think about it. Okay, so we have 4 schools of Islamic jurisprudence. Can, for example, one person from the one school within Sunni, within the broader Sunni body, marry a person from the other following from within the broader Sunni? So, for example, can a Shafi'i marry a Hanafi? And some gave against that, again, because of compatibility issues, because if you have different ways of deciding certain things, you can have dissent within the family. Let's say you're trying to eat a certain type of certain food, but one family member is following an interpretation that says that food is haram, and the other is following the interpretation that says the food is halal. So you can have disputes over, who cooks what and who leaves what food where, and the other mm-hmm. person feels contaminated by what the other person considers to be fine.
I didn't think of something as basic as that.
Yeah, so it happens. Mm-hmm. And then you can find, a major thing that happens to Muslims today, especially in our North American context and the UK as well, perhaps even Australia, and maybe where Muslims find themselves as minorities nowadays in new modern democratic societies, but have a mixture of people from all around the world following different interpretations of Islam, is the celebration of Eid. So you can have within the same family one person thinking that Eid is today, this is our major festival, we're going to have a massive celebration today, and the other person thinks, no, today is the day that we're supposed to be fasting, we shouldn't be celebrating Eid yet, it is still the end of Ramadan. It's still like the last day of Ramadan. And so we have major discrepancies that can affect even a household and mm-hmm. a split within the family.
So what about Sunnis then, or Ahmadis? So
I wanted to cap this off by saying finally, in conclusion, yes, a Muslim can marry within the larger Sunni body.
Okay.
A Muslim can marry a person from the other school of Islamic jurisprudence. A Hanafi can marry a Shafi and vice versa. even despite those differences. But I would say, so legally, yes, your marriage will be considered absolutely valid in the Islamic faith, but that's from the legal standpoint. From the practical standpoint, as much as you can marry a person that is more and more compatible with you, that is more conducive to a successful marriage than to marry a person that may have a different outlook, a different interpretation, a different way of following, even though they're your fellow Sunnis. Okay, but I don't want to stretch that too much because I don't want to, people to feel divided from each other. So now, framing it that way, now coming to Shias, if we say that Muslims cannot marry outside of the Sunni faith, it's not that we have anything of discrimination against others. We're just talking about the compatibility. And some scholars have said that Sunnis cannot marry Shi'is, but the scholarship that I respect on this question says, why not? They are actually fellow Muslims. They have a different interpretation on certain issues. Some of them are very important issues, but nonetheless, on the very core issues of Islam, we all agree. There is only one God. The Quran is the book from God. We believe in the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So we're basically talking about the same faith system, and even practically there's prayer and fasting and so on. There are different interpretations about all of these issues, but nonetheless, we can see, if somebody's looking down from Mars, they would see that Sunnis and Shi'is are basically, of the same faith. So, for example, Sheikh Faraz Rabbani, one of our leading scholars in the Toronto area, says unequivocally, yes, a Sunni can marry a Shi'i person legally. In terms of Islamic law, their marriage would be considered absolutely valid, no question about the marriage itself. But practically, he doesn't recommend it, again, because of compatibility issues. Because
so what about Ahmadis then?
Okay. So with Ahmadis, the situation is a little bit more difficult to rule on because the founder of the Ahmadi sect has said things which have been interpreted different ways. The Qadiani branch has taken it that he is the messenger Jesus, on whom be peace, having returned. Not that Jesus is coming down from the sky, but somebody else is born, and he is somehow like in the likeness of Jesus. And in terms, the Lahori branch thinks that he only meant to claim that he is something like the Mahdi, or a righteous person who Muslims are expecting generally to appear, and he has just now appeared. So in that case, there is more scope with the Lahori branch to think of them as being closer to the Sunni faith, because they also pray and fast and so on like we do, almost in line with the Hanafi school of Islamic jurisprudence. So one would want to know why not. But this is a contentious issue because many Muslim bodies have ruled that Ahmadis are outside of the pale of Islam, and sometimes the fatwa comes the other way as well. They think that we are outside of the proper following because we did not accept this righteous person as a leader. So that's a highly contentious issue, and we cannot arrive at a fair ruling on that in a short discourse.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
If you enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe. And please donate to support our work at QuranSpeaks.com.